Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalla Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalla Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityalla Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupana Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Shard Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradati Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishmar Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Shri Kartik Vrat Niyam Seva ki jai. Urja Vrat ki jai. Urjeshwari Seshwari Shrishabhananandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki jai. Shri Kashishwar Pandit ki jai. Shri Bhugarbha Goswami ki jai. Tadiya Shubhatirubhav Titi ki jai. Shri Radha Govinda Hemanta ki Rasa Yatra ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, everybody. Just 1 second. I'm opening up Restream. And okay, great. So we are continuing our reading from A Life of Devotion, biography about Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Goswami Maharaj. We're at the end section with excerpts from his teachings. So I'll share my screen and let's begin. Pranams to all of you who are watching right now. It says there are 4 people watching right now. If you write a comment, then I can see who you are. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so continuing. Yeah, yesterday we read, I don't know, I think maybe like half of this chapter. It's chapter 8, his Transcendental message. Okay, so we're starting off from this, what is it, page 340. The most dangerous offense. The Supreme Lord never tolerates criticism of his devotees. This is why one who finds fault with Vaishnavas remains forever deprived of the Lord's mercy. His spiritual practices become useless, like ghee which has been offered in the ashes. Therefore, anyone on the path of spiritual life has to be very cautious about not committing any offense to a Vaishnava. This is not a mere idle threat. One should read the story of Ramachandra Puri. By offending his guru, he became an offender of the Vaishnavas, and gradually his offense reached the Supreme Lord himself. Thus, one can become forever deprived of the nectar of devotion. Of the 10 offenses against the holy name, the criticism of a saint who is a pure devotee is considered the foremost. This offense is extremely fearsome. If one does not guard himself from this offense, then one will not receive the mercy of the holy name by chanting it for millions of lifetimes. An offender should use the same mouth to admit his offense that he used to commit the offense. And if he asks for forgiveness with sincere regret, then he receives the benediction of Vaishnava mercy. Just as, if one becomes deathly ill by drinking poison, then one can get life and strength back again by drinking the antidote nectar. Similarly, one can erase one's offense of criticizing a Vaishnava by sincerely glorifying that Vaishnava. But this glorification has to be sincere, and one must not commit this offense again. When a devotee, having lost his sense by committing an offense against the holy name, engages himself in criticizing a pure devotee due to his own jealousy, envy, and hostility, then we have to accept the path of non-cooperation with him. We have to remember what is said by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur here. Vaishnava charitra sarvada pavitra jeninde hingsak kori bhakati vinod na sambhashetare thake sadamo nadhori. The character of a pure devotee is always pure. If one criticizes such a pure devotee due to envy, then Bhakti Vinod does not talk to him. Bhakti Vinod remains silent in his presence. Srila Thakur Mahārāja has further said, Vaishnave vidvesha kori chade namarasa krame krame hoy artha kamanir vasha. Having been hostile to Vaishnavas, one eventually gives up the holy name. Then one gradually becomes attached to money and women. The punishment for committing an offense at the lotus feet of a pure devotee is so terrible that it creates attachment for the opposite sex even in a very renounced and spiritually powerful person, and thus makes him fall from his path. In this context, we present the example of Saubhari Muni from Srimad Bhagavatam 9th Canto 6th chapter and 10th Canto 16th and 17th chapters. According to the instruction of Sriman Mahaprabhu, those who can become humbler than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree have no desire for honor or prestige, but they give honor to others. Those people can free themselves from the 10 offenses and attain love of God by incessantly chanting the holy name. So that was an excerpt from the book Vaishnava Aparad. One second, just checking the comments. Hari Bol Rukmini Didi. Okay, now next. Our real identity. At the end of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it has been said, Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaha. That's Bhagavad Gita 1866. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Here, the phrase Sarva Dharmam Parityaja means Varnashram Dharmam Parityaja, giving up the concept of Varnashram, thinking of oneself as a Brahman, Kshatriya, etc., or a household sannyasi, etc. In Bhagavat Dharma, there is no consideration of one's Varna or Ashram. Bhagavat Dharma is related to the soul of the living entity. The soul is neither Brahman nor Kshatriya, neither man, woman, nor eunuch. Sriman Mahaprabhu has revealed the identity of the soul. Naham vipro nacha narapatir, napi vaishya na shudro, nahang varni nacha grihapatir, no vanasto yatirva. Kintu prodyan nikhila paramananda purnamritabdhir, gopi bhartu parakamalayor dasa dasanudasaha. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 1380. It's the same meter as Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yuta Parakamala. Just realized. Okay, so Mahaprabhu has revealed the identity of the soul. He says, I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya nor Sudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that the identification of the living entity according to country, time, nature, profession, sex, etc. is material identity. He has called this identity sopadik, based on social titles. But the identity of the soul is nirupadik. It is free from social titles, transcendental. And Sriman Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Lord himself, has revealed the ultimate and only identity of the soul. That is, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasaha. Whether one is living in America or in Europe, that is one's only identity. That was from the Sri Bhakti Pramoda tape ministry from the Gopinath Gaudiya Math archive. Avoid fault-finding. The propensity for fault-finding is very strong and devious in the ordinary living being. Jaha guna shatta ache taha na kore grahan, guna madhe chale kore dosh aropan. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila 879. If one had hundreds of good qualities, he would not consider them. Instead, he would find some excuse to impose faults on those good qualities. This was said about Ramachandra Purī, but this is, in general, the nature of the living entity. In a jeweled temple, the ant is looking for a hole. If one wants to find fault with others, then the Supreme Lord will find fault with him as well. That's from the Bhakti Pramoda tape, Sri Bhakti Pramoda tape ministry, Gopinath Gaudiya Math archive. Oh, Hari Bol Indira Mātājī. Pranam. Okay. 4 transcendental qualities of the deity form of the Lord. Okay. When one forgets the 4 transcendental qualities of the deity form of the Supreme Lord, one becomes influenced by the mundane vision of the deity. These 4 transcendental qualities are Solavya, the quality of being visible to all human eyes so they can see them with their own eyes and take shelter of his lotus feet. Śrīla, it's the quality of giving the living entities a feeling of security and assurance so they will not be averse to his association, having considered his superiority and their inferiority. Swamitva, the quality of inspiring confidence in the living entity, that my Lord will fulfill my desire. And Vatsalya, the quality of transcendental affection, or the quality of protecting and reassuring the living entities in spite of their faults and offenses. That was from the book Vaishnava Parad. Ah, very interesting. Solavya, Śrīla, Swamitva, and Vatsalya. These are the 4 transcendental qualities of the deity form of the Lord. If one forgets these qualities, then one becomes influenced by mundane vision of the deity. Okay, so now next excerpt. Pride. the fearsome enemy. We have said before that one has to think of oneself as an eternal servant of Krishna, and as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Being fixed in such an identity of the self, one has to become a well-wisher of oneself and a well-wisher of all living entities. But one very important point here is that while being a well-wisher of one's own self and of others, pride must not appear in one's heart. If one is not extremely careful about this, then one will be completely deprived of the wealth of the divine love that desires to please Sri Krishna's senses. That is why one should repeatedly study Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's translation of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's Mana Shiksha, Lessons for the Mind. We just finished we just finished going through that a couple days ago. Then, by the strength of their mercy, one shall gradually become able to become a traveler on the path to the kingdom of love. Otherwise, all one's devotional practice and worship, one's conduct and preaching, everything will become useless, like butter that has been sacrificed in the fire. Pride is an extremely fearsome enemy. This is why one must keep this injunction in the forefront of one's consciousness, this injunction. Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tiner Smarane Hoy Vighna Vinashan Anayase Hoy Nija Vanchita Puran. That's from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, first chapter, verses 20 to 21. One should remember these three, Guru, Vaishnav, and Bhagavan. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and enables one to fulfill one's own desires very easily. So that was an excerpt from Sri Sanatan Shikshanusarane in Bhagavad Dharma, Year 3, Number 2. The Bengali Bhagavad Dharma. Who's calling me? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay. Mercy of the Lord follows mercy of Vaishnav. When a living soul becomes repentant for his past sins and cries to Krishna, saying, "O Krishna, I am your servant. It is because I gave up your lotus feet that disaster came upon me." Krishna becomes merciful to that repentant soul who remembers his real identity. He gives that soul eternal shelter at his lotus feet, where there is no trace of fear or grief. He gives him the strength of his own internal potency. Therefore, the illusory energy becomes weak and loosens its grip on that soul. Only the living soul who is averse to Krishna becomes punishable by the Supreme Lord's external illusory energy. But when one develops the desire to serve Krishna, then one has nothing to fear anymore. When one becomes sheltered by a bona fide guru who is Krishna's intimate associate, Krishna himself gives that person the gift of fearlessness. The Supreme Lord, who is very affectionate to the surrendered devotee, is an infinite ocean of benediction. He gives the surrendered soul shelter at his lotus feet by forgiving all his offenses, which were committed due to ignorance. He only acknowledges his inability to forgive someone who is offensive at the lotus feet of his devotee. Wait. Yes. So, Krishna only acknowledges his inability to forgive someone who is offensive at the lotus feet of his devotee. He's not able to forgive him. But if that devotee forgives such an offender, then that is the end of the matter. Merciful Sri Hari, who is affectionate to his devotee and is devoted to his devotee, accepts as a servant of his servant a soul who has received the mercy of his devotee. This is why it is said that the mercy of the Supreme Lord follows the mercy of his devotee. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado. Without receiving the mercy of a devotee, The mercy of the Lord, who is affectionate to his devotees, remains far beyond our reach. That's from the article called Gopi Prem Vivol Shri Gopinath in Bhagavad Dharma, Bengali edition, year 1, number 2. Simplicity, humility, and compassion. A Vaishnava's external conduct needs to be consistent with his internal mood. If one thinks one thing and says another, that indicates that one is not a Vaishnava. Having given up all pride and prestige associated with race, family background, education, and social status, a Vaishnava should fix himself in his own identity as a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the Lord of the Gopis. It is the religion of the Vaishnava to offer obeisances to everyone. Therefore, a Vaishnava has to offer his Dandavat Pranam, at least in his mind, to everyone ranging from the dog and the donkey to the dog-eater, and thus will fix himself in the concept of humbler than a blade of grass. The heart of every living entity, movable or immovable, is the temple of the Lord. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesher juna tishtati. This was said by the Supreme Lord. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva swapake cha pandita samadarshina. Bhagavad Gita 5:18. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, an outcast. Samadarshan means equal vision. The etymology of the word sama is maya saha vartmanaha. Maya saha vartmanaha. That means existing with me. Therefore, sama means Bhagavan. Therefore, seeing Bhagavan in every living entity is equal vision. The Supersoul, in his all-extensive form, being extended in every living entity, is attracting every living entity towards his own consciousness. If every living being could always think, if I become proud of my ego and power and treat other living entities unfairly, the Supreme Lord will never approve of such conduct. Rather, he'll be very displeased with me. So if every living being could always think this, then the world today would not have been so full of disturbance. The Vaishnava devotees are always fixed in this concept, and being devoid of the distinction between friends and enemies, they always and everywhere cultivate the supremely beneficial name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord. Thus, they endeavor to benefit themselves as well as others. They do not increase the disturbance of this world by creating factions and fighting and quarreling with each other. The nectarian lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who is an infinite ocean of benediction, are the giver of freedom from all grief and fear, and the refuge of all. That's from the article Param Doyal Shri Gaura Nitai in Bhagavad Dharma, Bengali edition, year 3, number 1. Proper mood in the Holy Dham. While residing in the Holy Land, the home of the Supreme Lord Sri Gaur Hari, at Ishodhyan, at the confluence of Ganga and Saraswati, or on the banks of these holy rivers, only if we wholeheartedly cry out in great earnestness for the giver of pure devotion, Lord Gaur Hari, will we be able to make a success of our stay. While residing in this holy dham, we should pay obeisances to all moving and non-moving things. In the proper mood, we should pray for our ultimate welfare to the spiritual master, Lord Gauranga, and Shri Shri Radha Krishna to be freed from all offenses committed, knowingly or unknowingly, in the span of many lifetimes. In this vein, also we should pray for steady attraction to holy rivers like Ganga, Saraswati, and Yamuna. We also should appeal in the following manner. May my earnest desire be that all deviant qualities like enviousness and jealousy be removed from my heart. And may my attraction to Lord Krishna be awakened. May the original identity of the Dham be awakened. May the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotees who reside in the Dham be the ornament of my head. And may I bathe in such dust, for only this can disperse all wicked inclinations. Through cultivation of proper behavior, may I be able to relish the nectarian sweetness of the holy name day and night without break. That's from the article, The Appearance of Gaur Hari in Bhagavad Dharma, English version, Volume 2. Misery increases love for the Lord. Misery increases love for the Lord. With external vision, one may see that the Supreme Lord gives his devotee all kinds of troubles. But Jato dekho Vaishnavera vyavahar dukh, nishchoy jani hoshe parananda sukh. All the external miseries that you see in a Vaishnav's life, you must know to be happiness that comes from great internal ecstasy. That's from Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Lila 9-240. The Supreme Lord, Sri Ramachandra, who is the epitome of integrity, accepted 14 years of exile to uphold the dignity of truth, to keep his father's promise. Similarly, the devotee Pandavas also displayed exemplary behavior by accepting the misery of living in the forest for 12 years. Sri Sita Devi, who herself is Lakshmi, the consort of Narayan, and Sri Draupadi Devi, who is supremely devotional, also accepted indescribable sorrow in their lives to set an example. When the Supreme Lord, who is full of inconceivable pastimes, when he plays his pastimes like a human being, he also accepts so much trouble just to instruct the living entities. Similarly, he conducts his devotees' lives through poverty and misery so that they can also exemplify the acceptance of suffering. All the miseries in a devotee's life increase that devotee's love for the Lord. A Sharanagat, a surrendered devotee, thinks, Tomara sevai dukha hoy jata sheyoto parama sukha. Seva sukha dukha parama sampara nashaye avidya dukha. Whatever misery I receive in order to serve you is also great happiness. Any happiness or misery that comes from devotional service is the greatest wealth, because it destroys the misery that comes from ignorance. It's from Sharanagati by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Atmanivedan. Thinking this, devotees do not consider their miseries to be miseries. Instead, they taste the nectar of divine love that is ever fresh and ever increasing. Seeing that, the joy of the Supreme Lord, who is always joyful, knows no bound. Through that misery, he tastes with great joy the intense divine love in the heart of the devotee, which is full of hankering for him. He gives his devotees more of the nectar of love, and by letting them taste the wonderful joy of that love, he makes them forget all miseries. The divine love of a pure devotee does not have some mundane reasons. That is why it does not diminish or increase in reaction to material misery or happiness. The devotee thinks, Nagani apana dukha, Nagani apana dukha, sabe banshi tar sukha amar tatparja, more jadi diya dukha tar hoilo, mahasukha she dukha more sukha varja. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 20:52. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the goal of my life. If he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. When such feelings become strong in the hearts of devotees, then what misery can there be in this world which has the strength to overwhelm them? Those with gross vision may think that the devotees, being overwhelmed with material miseries, will become averse to devotion, just like themselves. But if they are fortunate enough to have transcendental vision or refined vision, then they will understand that such miseries do not destroy devotees' love of God. Rather, they increase their love for the Lord. That's from Sri Chaitanya Vani. A devotee's vision of every soul. Oh, and pranams Nri Hari Prabhu and Papatarani Mātājī. Hare Krishna. Okay. A devotee's vision of every soul. It is the duty of every human soul to become very eager to help others, so that they can also taste the fruit of divine love. If other souls are going through some misery, then we have to take them by the hand and help them. Every soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. Therefore, if anyone is in danger, then we have to help them. Every soul is related to every other soul. That's from the Sri Bhakti Pramoda Tape Ministry, Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Math Archive. Religion of every soul. Factually, only Vaishnava Dharma is the eternal religion of the soul that is approved by the Vedic scripture. If it is called Hindu Dharma, then some limitation comes to it, because it becomes the religion of a specific community. But in Vaishnava Dharma, or the religion of the soul, there is no chance of such limitation. Because this religion is all-encompassing and relating to the Supreme Lord, it is the religion of all times, all places, and all people. The factor of being related to all times, all places, and all people is existing in every way. Is existing in it in every way. This factor of being related to all times, all places, and all people. Because it is the eternal religion of all living entities in innumerable universes, this religion is acceptable to everyone. It is all-embracing. It is also called Jaiva Dharma or Bhagavat Dharma. That's from Bhagavat Dharma magazine in Bengali, October 13th, 1999. Hearing Bhagavat from a pure devotee. So-and-so is a great devotee, but he is attached to material enjoyment. This is a contradiction in terms. Instead of hearing Bhagavat from a person who is attached to material enjoyment, it is better to read ordinary fiction. Whoa! Okay, so then I can feel better about... Never mind. I'm about to say a bad joke. Okay, so that's Bhagavat Dharma in Bengali, October 13th, 1999. Oh, I just read that. Okay. Okay. But that's a very, very bold statement, isn't it? Instead of hearing Bhagavat from a person who is attached to material enjoyment, it is better to read ordinary fiction. You know, I just actually was talking to a friend, anyways. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this exact point here, just yesterday evening. Okay, code of conduct for everyone. If a human being attains all kinds of knowledge about sense gratification, but does not take shelter of a moral code or bona fide scripture, then he goes to hell. Okay, that's from Bhagavat Dharma in Bengali, October 13th, 1999. Dovetail your skill into devotional service. If what people do, being inspired by their natural tendency, is dedicated to the service of the Supreme Lord, then it becomes part of devotional service. Same magazine, same issue. Shelter of Scripture. The Scriptures are not our enemies. They are our supremely beneficial friends. One must never ignore the Scriptures. The Supreme Lord himself has manifested himself as the scripture. The sages who know about past, present, and future, and who are free from the 4 kinds of defects, which are the tendency to make mistakes, the tendency to forget, the tendency to cheat and be cheated, and the imperfection of the senses. So the sages who are free from these 4 kinds of defects and know past, present, and future, they are the speakers of the scriptures. Same issue. Krishna is the only source of ecstasy. Krishna is the reservoir of all ecstasy. Therefore, in order to attain ecstasy, the living entity must worship Krishna. Same issue, same magazine. God is the only center. Prahlad, the great devotee, was taught the art of diplomacy consisting of the 4 principles of Sam, Dan, Bhed, and Danda. That's conciliation, contribution, discrimination, and retaliation. So he was taught of these 4 principles by his demoniac teachers. But he understood that such principles required considering someone a friend and someone else an enemy. Therefore, he did not consider these principles very charitable and did not accept them as something worth studying. Ayam nija paroveti gananala gochetasam udara charitanang tu vasudaiva kutumbakam. Only narrow-minded people are influenced by such calculations as, this person is my friend, or this person is close to me, and that person does not belong to my intimate circle, or is an enemy. One who is magnanimous or broad-minded thinks, the whole world is related to me. Vasudaiva kutumbakam. It is only the narrow-minded people harboring such tendencies to discriminate who create all kinds of sectarianism and conflict. By doing so, they only strengthen the quarreling propensities of this age of Kali. This age of Kali itself is an infinite reservoir of such ills as quarrels, conflicts, and wars. It will be impossible to attain true equality and peace in this world by the propagation of such discriminating party spirit, which gives rise to conflict. The Vasudaiva Kutumbakam principle, or the principle of considering the whole world to be related to oneself, is the essence of magnanimity. Politics is called Rajniti in Sanskrit. Rajniti means the way of kings. But the word Raj also means the best. Therefore, this principle is the true Rajniti, or political principle. When this principle is God-centered, then it can establish real peace in the world. If there is only one center, then there is no possibility of conflict among an infinite number of... If there is only one center, then there is no possibility of conflict among an infinite number of circles. But if there are many centers, then conflict is unavoidable. Wow, that's really nicely put. I'm just going to reread that. If there is only one center, then there is no possibility of conflict among an infinite number of circles. But if there are many centers, then conflict is unavoidable. Yep. It's from the Bhakti Pramoda Tape Ministry, Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Math Archive. That's actually a point that Śrīla Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja is making in this article that Srivas put out in Big Drum recently. That's the reason why there are so many wars, and like right now, God, it's so heavy, and that's because there isn't the one center. One second. Okay. Enmity pacified by love of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, Sama shatro cha mitre cha tata mana pamanayo shitoshna sukadukeshu samasanga vivarjita tulya ninda stutirmoni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthiramatir bhaktiman me priyo nara. That's Bhagavad Gita 12, verses 18 to 19. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent, and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Here, Krishna has said very clearly that one should be equal to friends and enemies. Therefore, we should not think of someone as our enemy for the rest of our life. Sri Prahlad Mahārāja has said, Swastyastu vishvasya kala prasiddhatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mito dhiya manascha bhadram bhajatad adhokshaje aveshyatam no matirapya hoituki. Oh, is that from... I recognize that from a song by John V. Harrison. Yeah. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-9. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in unalloyed service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Why is that? Because we are all Jiva souls, and our conditioning is a temporary state. Mahaprabhu has given the ultimate identity of the Jiva soul as the eternal servant of the Lord of the Gopis. The Supreme Lord is one. He is Krishna, and He is the Father of the whole world. Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. It's Bhagavad Gita 9:17. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. That's Sri Bhakti Pramoda Tape Ministry, Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Math Archive. Hari Bol Ganga Mataji. The holy name, the giver of prem. Hey, that rhymes. Okay. We have to make an effort to go to that place from which, once we go there, we do not have to come back. The abode of our worshipable Supreme Lord Krishna is Golok Dham. It is our duty to try to go and serve Him there. Just to make us understand this, Krishna, who is Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, descended as Mahaprabhu. Seeing how much His Jiva souls are suffering, His heart is crying earnestly, "O my children, please take the holy name somehow." Why does He care? He cares because His heart is restless seeing His children suffering in so many ways while entrapped by the illusory energy. So He is saying, "O my children, please come to me, please come to me." Then He says, Prabhu bole kohilaya e mahamantra iha japa giya sabe koriya nirbandha iha hoite sarva siddhi hoibe sabar sarvakhan bolo ithe vidhi nahi ar. That's Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Lila 23 verses 77 to 78. Thus I have spoken this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now you all chant this with great earnestness and determination. From this, everyone will attain all success. Chant this mantra at all times. There are no rules and regulations about chanting. Making Shachimata an instrument of His will, He says, Eteke bhajoho Krishna sadhu sangha kori mane chinta Krishna Mātājī mukhe bolo hari. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Lila 1:239. Therefore, O Mother, Worship Krishna in the association of sadhus. Chant the name of Hari while thinking of him in your mind. Many people carry japa beads, and they make the japa beads dance in their hands. They make the japa beads dance in their hands. But in their minds, they are thinking, there is a crow, and there is a crane. And it says an example of how the mind follows the object of vision. If one takes the holy name in this way, then this will not produce any result. Our name may be Padmalochan, one who has lotus eyes, but we may be blind. But Krishna is non-different from his name. He has invested all his potency in his name. We have to think about why our minds are being distracted while we are taking the holy name. What is our problem? The sign of fixed devotion is a continuous, uninterrupted flow of devotional service without distraction of the mind. So the holy name has to be taken offenselessly and with deep concentration. Otherwise, we may count that we have taken the name 100,000 times, but we do not feel a drop of love for Krishna. Ruchi jai anyastane name udasina, name chinta magna nahe jape pratidin. Chitta ek dike aar, anya dike naam, tahar mangal kise hoy gunadham. Lakha naam hoile purna sankhya mala gani, hridaye nahilo rasa bindu gunamani. That's from Shri Harinam Chintamani 12:4, verses 2 to 4. When one's attraction lies somewhere else, one becomes indifferent to the holy name. Even though one chants the holy name every day, one's mind is not absorbed in the holy name. If the mind is attached to one place and the holy name is in another place, then how can one be fully benefited by the holy name, which is the reservoir of all good qualities? One may have to succeed in counting off 100,000 names on one's beads, but in one's heart there won't be a drop of nectar of love for Krishna, who is a reservoir of all good qualities. So that was from Harinam Chintamani. What is prem? When attraction for Krishna becomes very deep and concentrated, that is prem. That is our prayojan, the highest fulfillment, and that is Sarvananda Dham, the abode of all ecstasy. It is said in the Brahma Samhita, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shama sundaram achintya guna sarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That's Brahma Samhita 5:38. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, Shama Sundar, who is Krishna himself with inconceivable innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. Only by taking the holy name offenselessly and with earnest concentration can one attain such prem that one can see Govinda with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. It's from the Sri Bhakti Pramoda Tape Ministry, Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Mata Archive. The message of Mahaprabhu. Sriman Mahaprabhu taught us the threefold goals of life, Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, by teaching his dear and intimate associates, Sri Rupa Gosvāmī and Sri Sanatana Gosvāmī, about them, making them the instruments of his purpose. Only by following these teachings can the jiva souls attain pure devotion for the Supreme Lord. Thus, only when they have the good fortune of receiving the real treasure of divine love do they realize the true significance of the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that the whole world is related to me. Then they are no longer proud of their own identity based on nationality, family, wealth, education, etc. They feel the urge in their hearts to embrace everyone, considering everyone to be very close and dear to them. Their discriminating feelings completely disappear, and their hearts ache because of the miseries of others, and rejoice at the happiness of others. By embracing a devotee who is in love with Krishna, everyone becomes crazy with love. Everyone hankers for this treasure of divine love. The non-devotional efforts towards establishing peace and equality without putting God in the center cannot be the perfect goal of a magnanimous person. The omnipotent holy name, or Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, can facilitate all auspicious beginnings which culminate in love of Krishna. This love, in turn, extends to all humankind. Only by following the example and teachings of the supremely merciful Vishvambar, Sri Gaur Hari, can we establish true peace in the world. That's from Sri Chaitanya Vani. I really like this topic. The non-devotional efforts towards establishing peace and equality without putting God in the center cannot be the perfect goal of a magnanimous person. And it won't be successful. Right? Because if there are many different centers, then how can there be peace? Okay. So that was from Sri Chaitanya Vani magazine, the magazine of Bhakti Madhava Gosvāmī Maharaj. Okay. The glories of Srimati Radharani. Whenever the topic of Srimati Radharani seeing Krishna at Kurukshetra, which is none different from Jagannath Dham, came up, Srila Prabhupada became overpowered with deep feelings of separation and love. Tears would flow from his eyes, and his voice would choke up with emotion. By seeing Srila Jagannath in Nilachal, Prabhupada would become immersed in this mood, and he would chant the following verse by Srila Rupa Goswami in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Priya soyam Krishna sahachari Kurukshetra militas tataham sa radha tadidam ubhayo sangama sukham tatapyanta khelan madhura murali panchama jushe mano me kalindi pulina vipinaya sprihayati. Sorry, I messed up with that meter. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 176. So, when Srila Prabhupada was seeing Jagannath in Nilachal, he'd become immersed in this mood that Srila Rupa Goswami is expressing in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Oh my friend, today I was united with my beloved Krishna in Kurukshetra. He is the same Krishna, and I am the same Radha, and the joyful ecstasy of our union is the same. Yet my heart is hankering for that forest on the bank of the Yamuna, which used to be flooded with joy by the sweet reverberations of Krishna's playful flute. Srimati Radharani and her own Sri Radhakund were Srila Prabhupada's life and soul. He used to become overwhelmed with loving sentiments whenever he described the glories of Srimati Radharani and her merciful nature. The collection of verses called Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. I still remember how Srila Prabhupada's voice would choke in loving ecstasy, and his eyes would become tearful as he was reciting verses from that holy book. And then it gives an example of one verse. I offer my obeisances in the direction of the breeze coming from the stirring of the garment of the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. That breeze makes Madhusudan feel very satisfied. How does that verse start? Forgot. Anyways. Yasya kadapi vasananjalakeda nata? No, I can't remember. Yes, no. Equally dear to him was Vilap Kusmanjali by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. He interpreted for us with deep feelings of love many such scriptures and verses glorifying Srimati Radharani. His extreme attachment for the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani is expressed in his own name, Varsha Bhanavi Daita Das, servant of the beloved of Srimati Radharani Krishna. And here's a verse from Vilap Kusmanjali. O Radharani, why should I keep this life if you are not merciful to me? What need is there for me to reside in Vraj? O lotus-eyed one, without your mercy, I do not want Krishna, the killer of the demon Baka. That's from the book Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. All right, so that we just completed chapter 8. I guess that's the end of the book, right? I mean, there's the appendix. Let's see. Yeah, so that's end of chapter 8 is Transcendental Message. And now let's see what's at the end of this book. Appendices. Okay, so there are glorification prayers. Okay, so the Arti Kirtan for Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Maharaj. Then, written by Sripad Bhakti Vibodh Bodhāyan Maharaj. Okay, and then diary entries. And so I think tomorrow. Oh, this looks very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow morning, we can read these diary entries of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Maharaj. All right. So we'll end for now. Yeah. So it looks like we'll be finishing this tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow. Also, is tomorrow the first day of Katyayani Vrat? I think so. Yeah, it's usually the day after Kartik, isn't it? So then maybe tomorrow also we can read about Katyayani Vrat. That's the gopis' worship of Katyayani Devi, and then Krishna appearing to them at the beginning of Rasalila. So yeah, we can read that about that tomorrow. Maybe we should read that tomorrow morning. Yeah, we'll read about Katyayani Vrat tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow again at 5:30 at this p.m. India time, we will read. We'll continue reading from this book. Maybe we'll finish it all we'll finish this book in the next reading. I don't know how long the diary entries are. But, all right, thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, we'll end now. All right, Eddie, you just get them done up. Oops. What's a melody? One second. Thank you, Rukmini Didi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishta Maha Bhagavat Shri Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishta Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nityal Pavishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Anugagoriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashata Rashata Shishmar Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Life of Devotion Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasa Gunath Shard Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaur Mandal Vraj Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai, Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Kartik Vrat Urja Vrat Ki Jai, Urja Shri Rase Shri Shri Vishwabhanu Nandani Shrimati Radha Thakurani Ki Jai, Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki Jai, Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai, Jai Shri Kashishwar Pandit Ki Jai, Shri Bhugarbha Goswami Ki Jai, Tudiya Shubhati Rubhav Titi Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Hemanta Ki Rasa Yatra Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams Nri Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji. And let's see, on YouTube and Facebook. Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. And Rukmini Didi, Indira Mataji, Ganga Mataji, who else? Champak Mataji, and Arjuna Krishna Prabhu, and everybody else watching. I see there's a bunch of other people, but I don't see your names because I only see names of those who write comments. So anyways, thank you so much for joining this reading, and I'll see you all tomorrow to read about Katyayani Vrat, the gopis' austerities, so that they can get Krishna as their husband. So we'll read about that Leela. Maybe we could read it from Srimad Bhagavatam, and also there's Ananda Vrindavan Champu, and I think there's another place, maybe Gopal Champu? I don't know. Anyways, we'll look for different places. And And then again in the evening, we will read Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj's diary entries. And that's the end of this. That will be the end of this book, A Life of Devotion. And then afterwards, I'm not sure if we'll finish it tomorrow. We'll see how long the diary entries are. If we finish tomorrow, then I guess the day after tomorrow, we will resume our reading of Chaitanya Bhagavat. We'll be commencing the Madhya Kanda of Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Hari, Hari Bol.
Hari, Hari Bol.
So I wanted to...
Yes.
Sorry, no, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt. But I just want to... My gratitude to you, Prabhu. It's been wonderful. We've done the Chaturdasi, and we've done, the Purushottam Mass, and all the way out to today, we've done all our brata and completed. So it was wonderful. It's been a great thing for every of my days, to hear, from the great ones, our acharyas and like that, and remembering them and hearing what they're about is so inspirational, so easy. This is what this brata is all about, isn't it? To come here, even to go to the temples and like that, just to visit temples or to go to Jamuna and Saiva Gokara, it's like, being like a cow or a goat if we don't take advantage of hearing from the great souls. So thank you so much. You facilitated all this to us for us.
I'm equally grateful because if it weren't for you and also all the devotees here, I probably wouldn't be reading this on my own. Also because I'm just very lazy and I'm not so. This has been getting me very fixed in reading regularly, and it's been I've been getting so much inspiration, and it's very different when I'm just reading something on my own and when I'm reading it with wonderful devotees like yourself and all the devotees here. It's very motivating for me, and I read it differently when I'm reading it with devotees. So, I'm very grateful myself, and this reading the biographies. That's my favorite kind of reading, and so I'm thinking, we'll see. I'm thinking to do a daily reading thing at this time. 5:30 seems to work. I'll see when I'm in Navadvip, because I do Kirtan with Subal in the evening also. So I'll have to figure out my schedule when I'm there. But I would like to continue reading in the evenings about our Guru Varga. There's so many different remembrance books, so many books about Srila Prabhupada, and there's Param Gurudev's biography, Srila Bhakti-Pragan Keshav Goswami Maharaj's biography that Gurudev wrote.
Gurudev loved. He said, "Have you read this biography?" That was many years ago.
Gurudev said that to you.
Yes, and Bhakti said, "Yeah, Gurudev, I've been reading it. I'm almost done." It's just like, what amazing too. That's a wonderful book. That's a wonderful book.
And that will very much please Gurudev if we're reading that. So yes, I want to. I'd love to do that. Yeah. Only thing is, the morning time, I'm totally free. I never have any obligation in the morning time. But in the evening time, I do, I read Chaitanya Bhagavat with one of my friends twice a week. And I do so it won't be daily. I'll have to figure out what days of the week. It might be 4 days a week or something like that. Or 5 days a week maybe. I'll have to figure out the schedule once I'm back in Navadvip. But it will be semi-regular. So
for me, it's great too.
Yeah.
You won't go, but for me, and here I set my alarm. I'm up, but to with all whatever is happening in my body is kind of weird. So I'm up at 2 hours chanting, and I set up the alarm just in case if I doze off again. But it's my alarm is 7 o'clock. Martin, are you sure what time is it? So I just reset the alarm clock.
That's so nice.
But you make it very organic, and it's very nice. We're all human. And so, I'm gonna be a little late. Whatever. But you're announcing, so I'm looking forward.
Oh, that's so motivating.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And then I don't know if I'll be able to hear. I don't know what time it'll be because I'm going back to Hawaii. So your 7 a.m. is my 4 p.m. there, which is all right. Okay, no problem. But then another
the biography reading, that one.
The 5 o'clock in India will be 2 a.m. Hawaii, 1:30 a.m. And so maybe I'll do some of them. I can't guarantee I can
That's
We'll
really
see.
early. Otherwise, you could watch. It's on YouTube, and so the replay is there if you just want to listen later on. I mean, it's nice to do
Right.
it
Yeah.
when you're live, but yeah. Otherwise, it's.
And because I'm just talkative. Sorry. But
I mean,
yes,
maybe I could do it later. We could see. I'll have to
no,
when I'm
no,
in
don't.
Navadvip, I'll have a better idea of my schedule, and we could see what times would work. So
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, don't change anything because of me. No, I was just saying, I'll have to figure out my schedule too. But like maybe those classes I'll be, or those readings will be. I'd see the replay. And,
Okay.
we'll work for you. Again, thank you. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna. Haribol, Champak Mataji, Arjuna Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, Ganga Mataji. Haribol, everybody. Thank you so much for the kind words, everybody. Haribol. All right, I'm ending the stream now. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.